Hello, everyone. Please let me know if you can see me, if you can hear me. Just so excited to be here with you guys this evening. We had a little back end stuff to fix with tonight. That we are here now. We are live, and it's such a joy to spend this evening with you. So I'm going to be looking up for you in the comment section. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, and let us do this together. So welcome to everyone. I am going to be sharing with you how you can disempower your limitations, and I will run a two-faced, two-sided killer broadcast. Today, I'm just going to be sharing with you 10 enemies of a significant life. And in the next broadcast that I will have next week, I will share with you a few tips for making the needed adjustments as you're able to look where you are in your own life. And CDK for sure, this one is very excited to have you on board. I'm definitely going to be having such a refreshing time with you. So thank you for coming on board. Adefunke says she can hear me, but she can't see me. But many others say that they can hear me and they can see me. So Funke, let us see what's happening with that. Do you want to go out and come back in? Just refresh your browser, and I hope that you'll be able to see me. All my family members are here. I'm just so excited. Fumi, Lola, Baba Yomi, welcome. Wemimo, Funke Oluwasuji, Chukwemeka Immaculate, you're welcome. I am Fed, my beloved, you're welcome. Coach Ife Dolapo, you're welcome. Christiana Tomisi, Busayo Awutunde, Bodam, you are welcome. Women on the Knees International, you are welcome. I'm so delighted to be here with the evening. It's actually been a while that all streaming to Facebook and to YouTube. We've had more Zoom sessions and like family meeting type things. Okay, I hear it's breaking up a little. Set it up to a different network. Let me do that. Gosh, it's been quite an interesting situation with the network. Okay, so I tried to get on a better network. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. Don't worry, it's going to be an extraordinary night. You are going to have a great time. We all are going to have a great time. So give it to me in the comments if you can hear me and if you can see me. Please let me know. How does it look now? Okay, Bimi says it's fine now, so much better. Okay, encouraging. So very, very pleased, very excited, very delighted, very pumped up, very gingered, very turmeric, very onions, to be here with you this evening. So I said when we were starting now that it's likely we run this in a series of two. Okay, so tonight we are going to keep the focus first on some of the limitations that are many times very self-induced and have the capacity to, stand in the way of a significant life. And then hopefully in the course of next week, we'll be back again to then talk about how you can disempower those limitations. And I think that's such an exciting thing for you to recognize where your superpowers are, to recognize what you can do to disempower your limitations. We all have limitations. Some of them have a greater hold on us than others, but we have a responsibility to recognize what can stand in our way and then, to move ourselves in the direction of creating the kind of life that we desire, the kind of outcomes that we desire. And it's all really about intentional life design. Okay. So tonight we are going to be looking at 10 enemies of a significant life, right? And what I want to ask you to give to me first is what you consider to be a significant life, right? It's a family meeting, it's a hangout for siblings, and it's a fireside chat for visionaries, okay? So if you are passionate about being maximized, about leveraging yourself, about releasing your potential, you are definitely in the right place. And before we go too far, I'm going to be requesting for those of you watching us on YouTube to please subscribe to the channel, because so many great content are right there on the channel, and so much more is coming. Those of you who are joining us, for the first time, big welcome. This is what we do at Immerse Coaching Company. We are just all about helping you step into a life of peace, purpose, and prosperity without trading the things that matter to you. And then before I start to share the 10 enemies, it will be great for you to push out the link to your friends and your family. Let everyone in your network get on board this session tonight, because it's going to be boom. It's going to be a whole body of knowledge and light streaming right into your heart and your life. Okay, Habiba is already sharing, and I love what you've said here. She says, a significant life to me is one that is well-rounded, and I love that so much. I love how that sounds to me. A significant life is one that is well-rounded, balanced, not overspending yourself, emotions, spirituality, and finances, okay? So give it to me. What does a significant life mean for you, and what does it look like to you? Okay, what does it look like to you? What is a significant life to you? How would you describe a life of significance? Okay, Ejiro says a life lived on purpose. Okay, Fumike Aribi says a significant life is a life of impact. So beautiful. A significant life is a life of impact. Ronke says a significant life is a balanced life. Okay, Rachel Ife says a significant life is a life of impact and purpose. I love it. I love it. Okay, a significant life is a life of impact and purpose, a life of balance. Somebody else has said it's a life lived on purpose. I am still waiting for some of your definitions before we go on. Temi Topper, my beloved, says a significant life exploiting your potentials to the maximum and having a satisfaction that you did it well. Layo Shaw, my beloved, says a life that fulfills purpose. Pearl says a significant life is a life of evolving to reach my full potential. I love it so much. Wow. A significant life to me is one that impacts others and does not let go of my core values. Oh, wow. Ubong, that's so good. Janet says, a significant life is being able to put things together and perform my duties exceptionally. Well done. Chukwemeka says a life of purpose and significance. Favor says a significant life for me is living fully per the Creator's design to the fullest. Opera Coco, so good to see you here, says a significant life is one lived fully. Opera says a significant life is living purposefully the will of God that blesses humanity. I love that one. Rachel says a significant life is one lived unto purpose and legacy. Wow. A significant life leaves a legacy for those behind. Patrick says it's a life of the word. I love it. You guys have it. Like, it's exciting when you get into conversations with people of like mind. And that's what's happening here today. You already have said it. For me, a significant life is a life that continues to evolve to the measure of the original design in the heart of God, evolves to the measure of the fullness of those possibilities and potential that have your name on them, and living that life, that growth in a way that definitely moves you into higher impact, higher income, higher influence, right? So a significant life is definitely well rounded. A significant life is lived on purpose. A significant life definitely impacts others, creates change for others. And another way that I love to look at a significant life is a life of vision. Anyone who catches a powerful vision of who they can be, of what is possible based on the purpose that is, over their lives, and they look at that vision, that picture, and they begin to rise to it. Because the truth is, there would always be a gap between where we are and all that God has reserved for us. Do you see? The journey to a significant life is moving in the direction of becoming more and more the person you were wired to be, you were created to be, creating the change you were born to create for those, who must hear you, who must interact with you, who must be blessed by what you carry, right? So in a significant life, you would find the recognition of purpose. In a significant life, you find the commitment to growing onto the fullness of the measure of that potential. In a significant life, you would find a desire to touch the world, to make a difference in the world, to change, to create change in the world, right? And that's a lot about impact. In a significant life, you will find prosperity. You find a person who is nurtured in their souls and who can trade their giftings for varying degrees of abundance, right? And that's why I love all that every single person has shared with me today. Okay. I'd love my team to please scroll on the screen some of these extraordinary definitions that we are receiving today, because they are just so exceptional and we should keep them in mind. I love what Coach Tony says. She says a significant life is one that is lived in, that lives in, through, and from Christ, manifesting him in every sphere of life that he commits to me. In him I live, I move, and I have my being. Oh gosh, I love it so much. This is just so good. So a number of things obviously jump out at us, and we are now going to be going into a lot more insights about what we want to share tonight. We are going to have such an extraordinary time together, and I'm going to be just so excited to help you unbundle and unpack some very powerful insights. So to sort of give context again and a summary to what you have shared and I have shared, some of the things that jump at you about a significant life is, number one, vision, or a recognition of purpose, right? Purpose is what God wants you to do. Vision is the degree to which you catch what he wants you to do, right? So first is vision, that ability to see what is in the heart of God concerning your life, what he's reserved for you, what he's called you to be, what is possible as you follow after him. The next thing that you see there is potential. So you see purpose there, you see vision and purpose there, then you see potential, which means that every single person is going to have to rise to a new level of being, a new level of doing things if they're going to fulfill their vision and their purpose at the next level. Your status quo is going to always create a deficit in comparison to who you can become and the purpose you've been born to serve. No matter how epic you are, there is always the next level. So that takes you to the third thing. When you uncover purpose, you start to discover potential, what has been put in you, but that you have not yet manifested, who you are that you have not yet become. The third thing you also then see for sure is growth, right? You now start to see growth. The moment you recognize your purpose and you see how you have to rise to your potential, you make a commitment to grow, to be a better person, to uncover and unveil a higher version of yourself, right? So that happens. The fourth thing that you see there as you start to grow is impact and influence, meaning that just by becoming a better person, you give others the permission to do the same. By shining your light, you give others the permission to do the same. And that's like super exciting stuff. So when you start to really grow and build yourself and master yourself and release your potential because you are growing, don't forget, growth is what puts pressure on our potentials. It's growth, that desire to be more and putting in the work on a daily basis. Those are the things that put pressure on your potential. And then from that place, you start to be a blessing to the world. So the fourth thing that you see there is you see influence, you see impact, you see an opportunity to create change. So anybody who really steps into a significant life will impact people around them. And then the fifth thing that you see there is prosperity. So you see purpose, you see potential, right? You see growth, you see people and influence, and then you see prosperity. As we start to grow our capacity to release value, value comes to us in return. As we give value, value comes to us in return. So you see different dimensions of abundance coming into your life just because you are walking the path of a significant life. So those are 5 things that you and I agreed to be big components of the very significant life. And I will now go on very, very soon into the enemies of a significant life, the things that create a limitation in your life. Let me tell you what I believe to be a very strong conviction over which my whole coaching methodology and my coaching assignment is built. I believe that more times than not, almost 80% of the time, the things that limit us are self-created. I believe so. And I find it to be so. I have been coaching since 2014 actively, earlier than that in informal ways. But in the last 6 years, I have built a 40,000 member strong tech-driven coaching community for people in 99 countries. And so for sure, I have been in different types of coaching contexts, right? That continue to really shape what I understand about human psychology and what human beings are able to create in their own lives. And what I find is that about 80% of the limitations that we feel like we're faced with, holding us back from stepping to the next level, upgrading our lives, achieving our dreams, expanding our possibilities, manifesting our purpose, creating greater levels of abundance. I find that a great degree of these limitations are actually very self-created. And when you have self-created limitations, you also have a responsibility to rewire yourself, rewire your belief systems, rewire your actions, rewire your habits for you to be able to triumph those limitations. So limitations can have a power on us, holding us back from best lives, but you can discover them when you recognize how you're fueling consciously or subconsciously. Statement. Do you agree that a greater degree of the limitations in our lives are fueled by us, whether consciously or subconsciously? I want to hear what you think about that. So please put it in the comment section, and I will be looking out to know what you feel and think about this particular assertion that I am making as a coach. I believe that a lot of times we fuel our limitations and we give the power that it has on us. Many times we're the ones who really fuels the limitations in our lives. Okay, Mo says, yes, they are through our mindsets. Pearl says, yes, totally. Habiba says, totally agree. Wemimo says, true. Okay, Ololade says, I agree with you. A lot of times we limit ourselves. So if you agree with me, then it means I agree. Just hang in here and let us see what you're able to learn. If indeed many times we're the ones who fuel our limitations, the first important step would be to recognize how we fuel our limitations. It will be important to recognize the enemies that are standing against, that we befriend and we, embrace, stay with when they are sabotaging us. Okay, people actually don't know the limitations from their end, and the ones that do don't know how to move past them. Thank you. Gosh, I love you, Olajuwon Okunubi. So well said. Exactly why we're here. Olajuwon says people don't act past them, and that's why we're having this series of webinars. The next one is going to show you how you can move past them, but this first one is to show you what the limitations are, right? And there are a number of things I can share with you, because humans are so varied with unique circumstances, right? But I'm going to be sharing with you based on my research within the context of coaching. I'm going to share with you top 10 enemies which stand as big limitations. But if you don't see them as the enemies here, you are going to continue to fuel them, okay? So this is just to open you up to big limitations that are standing in your way. Unconsciously, you don't know they're standing in your way, but you see, until you pull them down, and many of them happen in the realm of our mentality and our mindset, our belief systems, our ideology, our thinking, our habits, right? Until you pull these things down, you are going to be doing all the external work trying to change your results in life, but you see that you're not really getting the results that you want, because it's first about the operating system. If you have an Android phone and you're trying to have an iOS type experience, you see, it's not even about how the iPhone looks. It's about what powers the iPhone, right? So you can try to get a casing that looks like an iPhone on your Android, right? You can make it super pretty, and you can try so hard to make it look like an iPhone externally. But the results you will get is really connected to the operating system that is powering that iPhone or powering that Android. Do you understand this? And this is not to say one is better than the other, but it's just an analogy that we can relate with, right? So what I want to show you is not the externalities. I've seen this happen again and again. When people can fix the operating system, they can predict their results, regardless of the environment. So you might be saying, it is because I live in a certain part of the city. It's because I grew up in a certain area of town. It's because I attended a certain type of university. It's because my parents didn't, invest in my education or allow me travel abroad. It's because I studied this kind of course. It's because I'm married to this kind of person. It's because I'm short, or I'm tall, or we're really fat in our family. It's because I earned this kind of amount of money. You can look at anyone externally, and you can even make those excuses and say the reason they are having this kind of attended this kind of university, or because their father offered them an opportunity to work in a certain organization. We could say all of those things, but I tell you without equivocation, there are people who have been where you are and experienced a similarity of your kind of experiences, but have significantly different results. So, what I want to show you here is what I want to do with you is to help you undress, unpack, and unbundle some of those limitations that are sitting within your operating system that continue to power a level of results in your life, right? So when you start to really see them for what they are, you can make the switch and make the changes in your life and in your belief system and in the way you operate, and it's going to change the outcomes that you want. A final example before I then go on into some of the insights I want to share with you today. When you print a document, it comes out of the printer, and you look at that document, it's got an error on it, right? You don't try to fix the printer, and you don't start to hit the printer and be like, and you don't continue to try to print it, hoping that, by the next time the paper comes out, the document is not going to have that error. What do? You actually go to the document in soft version on your computer and you make the change on it, right? So it's all about programming. You program that Word document and you make the change on it. Then when you send it to the printer, which is hardware stuff, it's going to come out just the way you want it. So think about the results that you're getting in your life today, whether it's, let me say that first. So think about the results you're getting in your life today, like the document that you're printing out of the computer. Think about your operating system, the way you think, the way you perceive life, the programming you carry about how things work, to be, the soft copy of the document on Microsoft Word. Do you see this? So every single time you look at your life and you don't like the results you're seeing, there's something in your operating system that is fueling that result. So it's what is in the operating system that I want to show you today. I want to show you ways that you're thinking, ways you're interpreting events, ways that you are building, systems of belief, the attitude you have to life, and all of that. I want to show you things in your operating system that if you take away or correct, your outcomes will be different. Do you understand this? Your outcomes will be different. Some of you are already sitting with a business that is capable of making you a millionaire in dollars, but you have a small mindedness. You have a fear of success. You have a fear of charging because you don't see yourself as powerful as you are, and you're just afraid that people are not going to give you the outcomes that you desire. Titi, I love what you've said about there can be printer errors. That's easier. If there are printer errors, then you change the printer. But it's tougher if you're trying to get a printed document to look different without fixing what is on the soft copy. So yeah, there can be printer errors. You can be in an organization that is never going to let you rise. That's simple. You get out and you get a new job. But more people are in organizations that could let them rise, right? But they don't see themselves rising, and that is tougher. The inside work is tougher than the external work. So I like that analogy that she's brought in. I love it because it's the 20%. I told you about 70 to 80% of the time, the limitations in our lives are self-fueled, self-fabricated. But I recognize there's the 20%. There are times when we are with the wrong people, and no matter how hard we try, they're never going to validate us. Those things are true. There are times when the circumstances of your society, the political system of your country can be a limitation. There are times when you have a boss that, isn't just thinking at a different level, and the business is never going to go global. Yeah, there are those realities. But I'm saying to you, those things happen lesser and lesser. Even though many times we think that that is what is happening, many times we think it's the external that is going on, but it's not the external. Do you see this? It's not the external. So it's really the inside work, and the tougher work, the inside work. You're a man or you're a woman, real that I found myself. We go ahead looking at the 10 enemies tonight, is for you to stop being super sensitive to conversations like this. Let me tell you what ensures that we stay where we've always been. We all have a self preservation mechanism that makes us very defensive of truth that is uncomfortable. Let me tell you what, the human mind is wired to be self preservative. That is why you have your favorite seat in your church, you have the time that you generally wake up, you have the kind of friends you like, the kind of places you enjoy going, the culture you're comfortable with. We all thrive in comfort zone, right? And actually, comfort zone is not all a bad thing. There's got to be a measure of stability with the way life is organized for us to feel safe. But safe is the enemy of significance. Safety. So many times we are trying to be safe, and it doesn't allow us to push ourselves to be significant. So, what am I saying to you? We all have a safety mechanism in our mindedness. We have a safety mechanism in our programming. And what it does is to always make you self defensive. When you're hearing a truth that is uncomfortable, or a paradigm that is different from your existing ideology, your the first response of your mind is to discount it, right? To be like, no, that's not true. Have I not been trying? Despite, is it today? They will just be saying all these motivational speakers. They'll say you are the enemy. Have I not worked hard? How many podcasts have I listened to? Have I not read books? What change have I seen? You resist it, right? It's safety mechanism. Do you see? It's safety mechanism. We all do it. We all have it. You go into, a conference, a speaker starts to speak, you're enjoying it, and then all the thoughts start to just bubble up from inside you, like, and we all do that. It all happens. But when I'm announcing it to you so that you can catch yourself. And that is why radical deviations from existing patterns of thinking is called paradigm shift. Shifts happen when our mindedness and our paradigms are impacted upon from a state of inertia by an external force. That's why it's called a paradigm shift, a movement, a conscious movement from one realm of thinking and believing to another. And you've got to allow that happen to you. You have a responsibility to as you hear me tonight, to say, I'm going to keep an open mind. I want to learn. I want to unlearn. I want to relearn. Do you see? So don't have all your walls up and be like, this is not the first time they've told me something like this. If you're hearing it for the third, the fifth, the 10th time, then it's even meant to be an alarm in your soul telling you that, is it possible that there's some truth here that I'm missing? And that's why I'm still where I am. I love how my mentor, Cindy Trim, says it. She says, perhaps things are the way they are because we are the way we are. Perhaps things are the way they are because we are the way We are. Many of the outcomes that you are currently generating in your life today, in your marriage, in your relationships, in your social network, in your finances, in your health, on your skin, right? In your career, business, in your health, is very connected, very, very connected to your paradigms, to your conditioning, to your programming, right? And the circumference you're building in your mind about what is possible. You're responsible for your outcomes so many more times than not. So if you look around you and you don't like what you're seeing, if you don't like what the tree looks like, then you deal with the seed. You don't keep cursing the tree, you just deal with the seed. Do you see this? So just keep an open mind, because as we go along, your safety mechanism is going to spring up and be like, no, Debola, don't mind them. You've tried. They've come again. It was my parents. You don't know what I went through. So when people say to me, DDK, you don't know what I went through, I'll be like, you don't know what I went through. I don't know, but I feel like people get this weird impression like I've just had, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't want to make assumptions, but I feel like we learn to make our discomfort into crutches, and we like to lean even when we could heal. And you have to make that choice today, and hopefully it's going to lead you into a brand new path. So I want you to just allow me access into the realms of your programming. I want you to think a second time about some of the things I say. Open up your journal, take copious notes, and get ready to go back to it. These materials are going to be online for you. Go back again and deal with it, and just look at it again and ask yourself very, very, very honest questions, right? Because painful honesty and vulnerability with yourself is going to be useful. You would find at least between 3 and 7 of the enemies of a significant life that I will share with you to be at work in you. And when we come back again next week, then we can start to talk about how can I navigate these limitations, and how can I change the outcome in my life. Okay, so who is ready? Give it to me. I want you to give it to me, and then I am going to be able to go ahead and start to roll it. So let me know what you think about what I have shared with you today. Give it to me if you are ready to learn about the enemies of a life of significance. Let me know. Just say, DDK, I'm ready, 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 ready. I want to see it in the comment section, or else I am not going to start. So let me see it in the comment section. I'm excited to have my brother here, Pastor Niyo Shoma. So good to see you here. Thank you very much, sir. Excited. And I look forward to what we are going to learn together today. So just let me know what your thoughts are, and let me know if you're ready. Okay. Nobi's mom says, I am ready. Toyin says, I am ready. Okay. I'm excited to see that you are ready. Messiah, don't forget to put every of the items as we go one by one on the screen and on the comment section. And Silver says, fire along. She's ready. Everyone looks ready. Okay. Titi Lola, I love how your own ready is looking, like super, super ready. Okay. So we are going to be moving along. Now I will share with you 10 enemies of a significant life. You want to rise, you want to grow, you want to mature, you want to manifest, you want to release your giftings to the world, you want to do epic things, you want to shift into realms of possibility. You've looked at people and looked at things in their lives, and you feel like, I desire this, I want this, I want to be this person, I want to be this woman, I want to be this man, I want to impact my world more, I want to create change at a greater level. I want to step into abundance. If you've ever had those thoughts, I want to recognize my purpose. I want to do the impossible. If you've ever been in that place and you've ever sort of just, desired that, then it's important for you to open up your mind to some of the thoughts that we are going to be sharing here today. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first enemy of a significant life. This one, everyone talks about it, but I believe it's still so, you know, it's still so underestimated, the power that it carries. And we start with talking about a weak self image. A weak self image is the number one enemy to our significant life. It's the first thing that I want to mention to you and speak about just very briefly. By the way, if you're a member of the Immerse Inner Circle or you sign up for the Live Away conference, some of the discussions we're having here tonight will be super relevant for you, and you would have more insights, more resources as we go along that you can use to deepen the conversation. Okay, so the first enemy of our significant life is actually a weak self image. A weak self image will power that you um, we really know who they are. Many people do not recognize it. Many people don't recognize hearing. Many don't recognize powers, even use their heritage and all of the and manifest a greater. The first enemy of a significant life, a self dangerous. You student all through your life. Learning is going to always be a powerful and supremely important part of your transfer step into big possibilities in your life. Then you are going to be a student. And that has been shared with you again and again. You've heard that a lot. They say read, listen to podcasts, join seminars, and all of that. But the first kind of curriculum that you should be enrolled into as a student of life is the curriculum called you. Now, this is where people think that Okay. Sorry, I obviously lost that connection. Let me know if I am back and you can see me. It's just been such a great network this evening and it's going to work for us. So let me know if you can see and hear me back. I hope that it just serves us and stays great. Okay, fantastic. Excited to be back in. I was just like, oh my God, my people, my people. Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm back in. So we started out talking about the first enemy of a significant life. And I don't know where you stopped hearing me, but I was speaking about what I find to be one of the biggest reasons why people don't get results with personal development experiences. And you'd find them saying this thing doesn't work. It's what makes people snigger and be cynical about personal development and growth coaching and mentoring and all of that. You see, because what do they typically say to you? They say to you that you have to be a student, that you have to use knowledge to triumph your limitations, isn't it? So you will pay for certification courses, attend conferences, get into seminars, try to read some books, listen to podcasts. Tell me if I am speaking to you on this one and you get what I'm talking about. Everyone seems to talk about how they read their way into, some powerful revelations, some powerful insights. Is that correct? That's what they often say. And that's true. But the deal is, everyone who's ever told you to use knowledge to triumph yourself and to create new possibilities in your life has to break it down for you. We are going to be students, but the first curriculum that you have to be schooled in is the curriculum of you. It's the curriculum of you. The first curriculum that you have to be schooled in is the curriculum of you. You've got to be enrolled in the schooling and the enlightenment of you. Unless you embrace the enlightenment of you and the civilization of yourself, your giftings, your wiring, your pinpoints, your triggers, your capacity, your superpowers, your fears, your heritage, your roots, your struggles, your background, your conditioning, except you recognize those things, you will never ever really be able to maximize yourself. Let me tell you what you cannot ultimately read about the story of someone else onto the ultimate maximization of yourself. Never. You can only use the knowledge of people's journey to as a tool for navigating, the knowledge of your own journey. So what should happen when you're reading books is you should be saying, oh my God, I now know why I behave like this. Oh, I get it now. That is why that happened. Oh, I understand it now. No wonder whenever I do this, this is how it makes me feel. Are you understanding this? It is super critical. It's the difference. So when I read a book or I'm listening to a speaker, I'm always using their wisdom as a navigation tool, as a GPRS to, move around the estate called Adebola. I'm always thinking about myself as a massive real estate of territories to still be conquered based on discovery. Do you understand this? Juliana says, can we say that not taking yourself seriously and importantly, in a sense, is a sense of in a sense of not committing to the growth needed for your upgrade is based on a weak self-image? Absolutely. Absolutely. I love what you're saying. Now, the honest truth is, and I love you've already said that, Juliana. Many times the reason we don't take personal development seriously, a conference is coming up. DDK has been screaming about it. Join Live Away conference. And I just like one more conference. The reason is you don't know you. You're not schooled in you. Because when you're schooled in you, you begin to craft customized personal development plans for yourself, right? That's what happened to Bodam. Now, that's what happened to Bodam and I. She was like, DDK, what I want to do from October to December is to study myself again, right? So telling you to get personality, you can really become more knowledgeable about yourself. So self-assessment, personal diagnostics, reading, it's really first to become schooled in who you are. If you don't know who you are, you don't know what you need. If you don't know who you are, you don't know how to manifest who you are. And you are going to just try to be, you're always going to be looking for templates. You're always going to be doing Control C and Control V. You're always going to be scrolling on Instagram, trying to be somebody else. You see, you're always going to be like, if Ejiro did this and Kemi did that, maybe if I merged the two, I'll get double their results. That's not how it works. And I can go on and on and on about this, right? It's not Control C and Control V. It is undressing the person within and really starting to see him, starting to see her. So if your self-image is weak and your self-knowledge is weak, you can never really step into a significant life, because you're not even going to know the gifts that you have for the world. You're not even going to know what can make you trip and fall. You're not going to, do you understand this? I could go on and on about it, but I'm going to have to run along. I might be able to take a few questions, but we have a lot to cover, and I'm just going to touch on each for a few minutes. And it's in your best interest to actually step into the Immerse Inner Circle, subscribe and get into my coaching membership, because we talk about these things all the time. The second big enemy I want to share with you today that holds you back from accessing a significant life is actually what I call, or what is called, possibility blindness. People really suffer from possibility blindness. People suffer from possibility. We all actually suffer from possibility blindness. But the moment you recognize that this is a limitation in my operating system on purpose, you start to shift from it. If you're listening to me and you are a Nigerian or an African, whether in your home country, whether on your continent, or you are in diaspora, can I say to you, especially if you had the first 12 years of your life in Nigeria, right? But even, I mean, if you've been in developed economies, developed climes for about a decade and onto 2 decades, 15 years, all of that, this particular limitation might not be in full effect in your life, right? But if you are in a developing clime and you were raised, in a developing clime, this can be a big limitation. And the problem with it is you would not even know. It's usually under the radar. It's usually like intravenous. It's in the back end of your operating system, and you would not even know that it's ailing you and it's assailing you, right? So the second enemy of a significant life is possibility blindness. Possibility blindness is an enormous inability to see what can be beyond what is. It's an enormous inability to see what can be beyond what is. It's a weakness of envisioning, a weakness of conceptualization that causes a person to be unable or to be so weak in the ability to see 3, 5, 10 shades of higher dimensions to what they are currently experiencing in their lives. There's a way we get used to average. There's a way our normal, right, is just okay. And if you were not raised in a system that works, you were not raised in a clime that has used technology to facilitate inventions and innovations that almost replace the expertise and the giftings of man, you could be in this zone in your life where you are average and you don't even know it. Because possibility blindness is strengthened and fostered by the kind of environment you are. And I tell you beyond equivocation, on this side of the divide, on our side and our climb, many people play average without even knowing it. The standards for greatness are so low in our generation, and I'm just going to be honest with you. You go online and see what we praise as a people on social media, and you will know that what we think is greatness is utter foolishness so many times. And if you spend so much time on social media and you are fascinated by the things that people hail, we are your Gary Sivos, we are your Lekki Flooders, we are your Asun Roasters, right? We are your all of those just because a person is pretty. And boom, and I'm not throwing shades at anybody. I understand what it means to be like fun and to be a happy young person, but I'm saying that the things that blow our minds, the things that impress us, are so mediocre many times, and we don't even know it. The things that blow our minds are not supposed to blow our minds, but our environment is just so limiting and is so small, right? What blows our minds? A person writes a book, and that's a great thing. I'm an author of 20 books myself. And we go on and on and on about it. But writing a book is not equivalent to changing lives. It's a door opener, but it doesn't mean that you put your foot into the room. Do you understand this? So possibility blindness is just that inability to see what is possible at a whole different level. And you start with your life, right? So what is possible in my life? And let me tell you one of the ways that you can use a litmus test to quickly recognize if you're having possibility blindness. If you are not in what is called the discomfort of growth, if you don't often find yourself month on month, quarter on quarter, trying out things you've never done before, if you don't find yourself experiencing what is called the adventure adrenaline, right? Reaching for new dimensions of an existing reality. You've been holding conferences, but when are you going to go international with it, right? You've been writing books. When are you going to hit a best-selling status? When are you going to co-author with your favorite mentor who is in his 80s and you don't want to lose that wisdom before he transitions? You've been building your business. When are you going to create a corporate social investment arm that can serve young children that you've been always passionate about? Do you understand? When are you going to exceed a realm that you've been on, a mountain that you've been circling? So if you look at your life and you are not experiencing the discomfort of growth, making investments that make you have your heart reaching for your mouth, like, am I going to spend that on accessing this kind of opportunity? Oh my God. If those things are not happening to you, if you're not meeting people that just 6 months ago you were in awe of, and when they are interacting with you, they're feeling in awe of you too. Maybe you're experiencing possibility blindness. If you've sat on a dream, something you wanted to do in the last anything exceeding 6 months to 1 year, you are experiencing possibility blindness, because even though you are catching a glimpse of what you could become, you are so blind to who you would be when you access that realm. Because I tell you what moves us into new dimensions of execution is first a compelling image of how our lives will look at that new level. I'm telling you, that's what pushes you. That's what makes you move, because you are so compelled by that level and what your life will be at that level that you go for gold there, despite your discomfort, right? So we are experiencing possibility blindness, and it's making us never stepping into real significance. And possibility blindness is really also fostered, like I said, by the very low standards of our generation. What we think greatness is baffling. It's really baffling, the things that impress us, the things we celebrate, the things we award, right? Some people fight for awards as an example. And the problem is you are experiencing a very weak self-image. If you see yourself as you can be, you're not going to lose your cool because you feel like someone in your industry who's not as smart as you is getting an award. You're not going to lose your cool because it looks like you've been sidelined and you nobody has recognized you're giving you an award. No, that wouldn't happen to you if you really caught an image of who you are. If you cut an image, do you understand this? Let me tell you, some of the most phenomenal tables you will sit on in your life will be built by you. But because you don't know you, you're always waiting for validation, not knowing that you can become a custodian of credibility in your own industry. How about you even become a giver of awards? Just as an example, right? And I can go on and on and on with different types of examples for you. Think about what people usually have an hashtag for. Goals hashtag, couple goals, big boss babe goals. Just go check it closely and you are going to be stunned about how we became this kind of people, right? How we became these kind of people who are just so unsure of ourselves that, you know, every little seeming step of progress blows our minds and we start to hashtag goals it. Why are you hashtagging goals? Right? Is that really your goal? And if that's really your goal, then you've got a possibility blindness challenge. And I'm still going to undress each of these in our next webinar and show you how you can navigate these enemies and begin to press into new possibilities in your life. Everybody at a level has a measurable possibility blindness. Can I tell you for free that the moment you actually start to experience possibility, you gradually start to weaken the effect of that blindness. It's almost like when a person starts to interact with a possibility, right? They start to interact with a particular possibility. I'm looking for a simple example. Maybe you didn't used to eat isiewu or asun, and I don't know why. I don't know what you're doing to yourself if you don't eat those things, right? But let's say you never used to eat them. The moment you are initiated, and that's why there's something called possibility initiation. And I'm going to be teaching you the tips for accessing possibility initiation. The moment they initiate you into isiewu, right, or asun, you're going to be like, what? Is this what I've been missing in my life? Oh my God. And then you start to have a greater affinity for it. You start to desire it. You start to use your money to buy it. You start to pull it in focus. You start to use the law of attraction. Let me tell you what, the first few dimensions of stretching yourself will be so painful on your body, but on your mind, on your soul, right? But as you make a practice of stretching into new possibilities, you get initiated into a life of possibilities. And then you start to use the law of attraction. And the next time it will be easier. The next time it will be easier till you come to a place where all around you, when you look, all you see is possibilities. It's powerful. So you've got to start. But when you start, don't feel like you are now epic. Do you understand this? There are things that I do just because I'm stretching my capacity to see more possibilities. So I do them so that when I want to reach for a bigger vision, I can be like, well, I did that one, so this is going to be possible. I'm not doing it because I want to be praised. I'm not doing it because I want people to hashtag and be like goals. I don't care about you. Really, in that sense. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care if you think I'm goals or not. I know the goals that I've set for myself. I know the compelling vision I've thought about my life. And my possibility blindness is dropping because my self-knowledge is growing. Whatever impresses you about me is a fragment of where I'm really headed, as God helps me. Do you understand this? So we use possibility initiation to expand our capacity to see more possibilities around us, right? So that's a second thing that you have to pay attention to. You will never sit still. I love how Mom University says it. You'll never sit still if you see what you can be. So good. Okay, let's run along and look at the third thing that I want to share with you as an enemy of a significant life. If you are in the immersed inner circle, for sure, you know this gig. I talk about it all the time. I probably would actually create like a whole psychological model for this particular thing that I want to share with you today. Okay, so we're gonna go on now to the third. I love that as well. Mom University, as self-knowledge grows, possibility blindness reduces drastically. The third thing that I want to share with you is called learned helplessness. learned helplessness. Learned helplessness, right? Learned helplessness is a practice of refusing to release your highest potential because you have embraced the victim mentality for so long. Learned helplessness is a refusal to release higher dimensions of what you are capable of because you have embraced the lie that you are incapable. Learned helplessness. That's the third enemy of a significant life. So many people are in learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is how we become victims Okay, I'm back in again. Um, don't worry about the network. We're gonna do this together. So we are on learned helplessness, and it is when you make a practice of never manifesting your full potential, of never stretching to higher dimensions of who you can be and what you can achieve, just because you've gotten many no's or people have sold your inabilities to you. It's the refusal to release your higher possibilities because you've embraced the lie that you are not capable. It is when you use the challenges that you faced in your life as a crutch for why you cannot be your best, right? And I know people like that. The more I say to them, you can do it. Go and do the, they're gonna be like, DDK, it's really tough. You don't know what I've been through. I have issues. It's the refusal to launch a higher dimension of yourself because you've embraced the victim mindset. And let me tell you a funny thing about learned helplessness. It takes practice. But when you make a practice of it, what will now happen is it becomes a vicious cycle. And here's what I mean. Learned helplessness is when you say, I can't do it because I was abused as a child. So I don't know how to give and receive love. Okay? That's how the cycle begins. I was abused as a child. I don't know how to give and receive love because I don't trust people because of that abuse I experienced. Then you start to vibe out an inability to receive love. You start to push people away. You start to demonstrate great degrees of suspicion, and you create a force field or an energy field around yourself where people can never gain access to you, right? So what happens is when people come closer, you start to vibe out that learned helplessness, that I can't receive and give love. I don't trust people. You vibe it out. People come, gradually you frustrate them and they leave you. When they leave you, you are going to then say, I told you that people don't know, people never love me. People always leave me. People never, and that's why I'm always suspicious of people. That's why I never let people into my space. Because people have shown me from childhood that they never love me. I hope you understand this. That's how we create what is called that vicious cycle. Learned helplessness makes you experience the things that you believe about your life, even when they are wrong. Learned helplessness creates that cycle. Some of you will be like, my business is not thriving because, nobody modeled a great business to me. My mother was a housewife, she never earned her own money, and that's why I don't know how to do business. So you, instead of going out and seeking the results you need and learning what you need to learn and shifting your belief, you continue to vibe out that behavior. You continue to vibe out that belief system, and opportunities continue to bypass you. Then you say, can you see, I'm never going to make it in business because nobody modeled it to me. Do you understand this? So learned helplessness actually makes you experience the things you believe even when they are wrong. It's a refusal to rise to the higher dimensions of your possibilities because you've really embraced the lie. You've embraced it, you see, and because you've embraced it, it will become your truth. Let me tell you one of the most dangerous things in the world, for a lie to become your truth. There's a very uncanny way that scripture describes it. Scripture says, if light in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? And what it simply means is we use light to navigate our path. We use light to gain direction for the decision we make. So we use light as a decision-making tool, right? And so if darkness is your light, you be light. For example, let's say a person doesn't have a healthy relation with money. They're always in a scarcity mode, right? So they don't want to spend their money to do anything. They're going to be like, I'm not going to join the Live Away conference. 15K. What do they want to tell me? I better go 100K. Ooh, what? So they vibe like that. So what is going to happen is they are going to be like, all these conference things is not true. There's no big deal. Who wants to teach me what? I'm good to go on my own. So they never spend that money. You see, what the problem is, when you don't spend that money, that's the big issue is opportunity to learn will bypass you because you cannot attract what you resent. You cannot attract what you cannot attract what you we attract what we honor. We attract what we desire. So people are going to get free access into the conference. They won't pay, the guest scholarship, because their desire will pull it toward them. Some people are going to get that. Some people are going to get money to be able to, pay for the conference. By the way, there's a free version of it, and that's beautiful. You can even get into that free version and still get so much from the experience. But what happens is the moment you start to say, what do they teach? There's nothing I can learn. You would continue to convert and bypass opportunity for you to grow. And so you are not going to grow, and you continue to be like, despite everything I'm trying, nothing seems to be working because you made it helplessness. And you are responsible for that, right? Some people have a different kind of learned helplessness, right? And let me also mention an interesting definition I have for learned helplessness. It is when you always keep things outside of your locus of control. So you are a blame trader. You must start the blame game. You always keep things outside your locus of control. You always act as though it is impossible for you to control the outcomes in your life. And that helplessness happens sometimes for last borns or for people that were raised by single parents or people that were raised by parents that didn't teach them how to take responsibility. So it happens to last born simply because in many cases for many last borns or last children in family, people did stuff for them. So they were like the baby of the house. If you were a baby of the house, the likelihood exists that you have learned helplessness. They brought you to school. Anytime you needed something, you called home. They sorted your university provisions, everything. They always bailed you out. They didn't let you go through a curve of a challenge that you had to figure out by yourself, right? And there are many other reasons where people become really blame traders. Can I also tell you an interesting category of people that often keep outside their locus of control? People who embrace religion not kingdom, because if you're a kingdom believer, you are going to recognize the principle of faith and risk taking. True believers recognize that a life of faith is all about visionary risk taking and being responsible. But some people get religious and they will be like, I will pray, God will do everything. He's not going to do everything. He's giving you power. So those are things that create learned helplessness. When you always outside of your locus of control, you always believe that you cannot control the outcomes. You're not responsible for the outcomes. It's something other people have to do for you. And it's also what creates entitlement mentality. It's learned helplessness that creates entitlement mentality, because you always expect that people don't owe you anything. People don't owe you anything. Whatever you receive from others, you take it as a gift, even if you feel like you've worked for it. So that's learned helplessness, and it's definitely an enemy. I don't even know. Are we going to finish this? Because I don't want to keep you guys for too long. So that's learned helplessness. It's, I just leave it in the hands of God. Don't do that. He's also leaving it in your hands. He wants you to go out there and dominate and govern the earth. And that's hard. That's diligent, right? Then he's going to come alongside you and he'll put a blessing on your diligent work. But 0 raised to power 1 million is 0. 0 raised to 1 million is 0. So you don't want to be the 0 when God wants to be your multiplier. He wants to be the multiplier effect, but you can't afford to be 0, right? Juliana says, I feel attacked. I love you. Do you understand? So that's learned helplessness. You have to get out of it. We all have it, but some people have it more. Stop creating a narrative of pain and victimization in your life. I don't even like sitting with people like that. I don't like coaching people like that. I don't like it because, you don't even have a foundation for us to work with. Am I saying there are no challenges that people have faced, hard things? I acknowledge that. But how you shift out of learned helplessness is to flip your crisis into a question and start to say, question 1, what is this teaching me? Question 2, am I keeping the door open for this to reoccur in my life? Question 3, what tools do I need to step out of this pain and convert it to purpose? Right? Question 1, what is this crisis teaching me? What lessons can I take? Let me tell you something. If you go through an experience I didn't go through and you don't have greater wisdom about that matter than I do, then you are a wicked person. Yeah, because it is the comfort that we receive that we can comfort others. So you flip your crisis into what is called cornerstone questions. Question 1, what is this pain or crisis trying to teach me? If you go through what I didn't go through and you don't know what I know, it's your fault. And you don't know something that I don't know. Exactly. If you go through what I didn't go through and you don't have a wisdom I don't have, then that's your fault. You're meant to come out of crisis with counsel. And that's not easy. We will need friends, we would need coaches, we would need therapists sometimes on that journey. But you've got to flip your crisis into a cornerstone question or cornerstone questions. Number 1, what is this trying to teach me? Number 2, how do I not leave the door open for this to happen again? Because let me tell you what, when you've been a victim of a pain, you can become an easy prey of that same pain again, right? So you've got to come out of crisis with counsel. And I really love how Mom University says it here. So number 1, what is this crisis teaching me? Number 2, how do I not leave the door, right, for this pain to reoccur? If you've been in a relationship with an emotionally unavailable man, the likelihood increases that you can step into a pattern of always wanting men who will never be available for you, right? And that's why people who have been victims of sexual abuse can become prey of a pattern of sexual abuse. It's as if the predators always just see the sign in you, right? That can happen. How do I not leave the door for this to happen again? That's a second big question that you have to ask yourself. A third important question that you want to ask yourself based on that that experience and that crisis you've had is, how can I use this? How can I make this serve me? And how can I serve others with this? Do you see? What tools do I require to navigate this pain? And that's where you now start to say, based on the kind of challenges I've had in my life, this is the kind of teacher I should be listening to. Do you understand this? And I've told you again that you listen to people and you read their materials as tools to navigate your own journey, because there's a curriculum called you. So the third question here is, what tools do I require? And that is why our tools must be different. That's why in Immerse Inner Circle, when you come in, there are different pathways. Some people start from cleanse, some people start from clarify, because based on what you've been through in your life, you need your unique tools. So you ask yourself, what tools do I need to navigate this so that it can serve me and it can serve others? So if you've been a victim of sexual abuse, yeah, you've been a victim, that's hard. And I'm not downplaying any crisis, it's a big deal. But are you now going to make it create a pattern of pain in your life and future? Why would you do that to yourself? Why would somebody else's misdeed become a permanent judgment in your life? That's not fair. That's not fair on you and your children. To carry baggage is ultimately your responsibility. Your journey might be long to healing. Some people's journey might be short, but you have to get on the journey to healing. So if you face sexual abuse, yeah, you go use therapy, you go get the books, find another warrior, read the book Free by Debola Kupolui, Salako Kupolui. Join the Soul Clinic by Fumi Ayowale. Find what, just go get it, go make it work. That's your responsibility. You have a money mindset that is scarcity driven because you grew up in a poor family. No problem, that's no problem. But you can't stay there and continue to be like, if you know what we went through, we had fish only once in a year. That's not the point. What are you going to do about it? So that you also don't create a poor environment for your children. Do you understand? So you've got to ask yourself, how do I make this serve me and serve others? What tools do I require to navigate this pain? So I love how Adefunke says it, no to patterns. We say no to patterns, and you are responsible for that. So learned helplessness definitely creates patterns, uncomfortable patterns in our lives, right? And sometimes what people call generational curses are actually generational patterns of learned helplessness. So you can make it stop with you. And I'm not saying it's going to be an easy journey, but get on it. If you don't do it for you, who's going to do it, right? The fourth thing that we want to talk about is something that I love very much, and I teach. I enjoy mentoring and coaching people into this one because it's something you can easily get out of. Is one of the enemies you can crush quickly, boom, boom, and get out of the way. And it's called low superpower leverage. Low superpower leverage. Let me tell you the secret, right, to an extraordinary life and the secret to extraordinary accomplishment. We have been told that we have to improve our weaknesses, we step into an extraordinary life, right? But it's actually easier to sharpen your strength than to improve your weaknesses. And sharpening your strengths will give you quicker results on the path to epic shifts, extraordinary shifts in your life than improving your weaknesses, right? This is big deal. If you are victim so low superpower leverage, you're going to find yourself always trying to work hard on yourself, but you're not going to see many results in the environment. Do you understand this? So how do I sell this to you? I have weaknesses and I'm working on my weaknesses, but I am working twice with my strengths than I am on my weaknesses, right? I am in acute recognition of what makes me a powerful person. I know it, I recognize it, and I put it to the use on a daily basis. Do you understand? To leverage an asset is to position it in a way that delivers maximum output for you. That's what we do, investors. You see your money, it's here, it's earning this percentage. If you have a larger risk appetite, you start to say, I need to play better with this. If I can get a higher percentage, then I'm going to put my money there or put a portion of my money there. That's you trying to leverage your asset so that it can deliver maximum output for you. So many of us fixate on our weakness. And look, when you come to coaching from the point of view of, I have these weaknesses, I need help, you will get lesser results than the person who comes to a coaching experience saying, I am already like super good. I want to go epic. People like Bodam Taiwo, people like Tolu Michaels. Tolu stepped into our coaching relationship, our one-on-one, and she was like, GDK, I'm just itching for more. These and these and these are the things that I already do well, but I'm itching for more. And the whole coaching roadmap that we built together was to begin to say, hey, girl, this is an area you can highlight and insist on, an area of strength you can further highlight. Do you understand? So it's called strength coaching. That's where my grace is. I push people to more of what they are capable of being already, as against bandaging pains and saying, and I'm not saying that we don't go through those healing journeys together, we do. But I don't try to help you improve your weakness as much as I try to help you leverage your strengths. I try to help you leverage your strategic strength. The whole strategy is to say, what am I good at? And, go stronger there. Let me tell you what now happens. When you get stronger with your strengths, you are going to start to attract the people who cover your weakness. That's what happens to you as a visionary. So I'm not super excellent with things like, following through on maybe the step-by-step dimensions of getting a project to work. But I have a vision. I'm a big vision girl. I can see what is possible, right? I can create a big plan for what we want to do, and I can give you the energy to move you toward execution. But I can miss the smaller detail of what we have to do on a daily basis, right? I can miss that. But because I didn't say, I'm not going to work on any project yet, because sometimes I miss the smaller details and it can get us into trouble. I'm not that person who sees what we should do. And that's not what I did. I continue to execute big projects. As far as my eyes could see, boom, I'll take it. I will start to run with it, right? And as I did that, I got into some trouble. Sometimes you should have sent an email, that email didn't go out. Sometimes you had booked someone in, that didn't work. But what started happening was, because I continued to be a powerful visionary and I was hitting new notes of personal accomplishment, I started to pull in fellow visionaries, right? Who looked at me and said, there's something here. You're not perfect, but you have something going. And many times we always attract the opposite of ourselves. So they are looking at me and they're saying, I want my execution game to be better than yours, to be like yours, or to be even way better than yours, right? But I'm also looking at them and saying, just because you are a calmer person, you have better eyes for detail. And that's why I need you. Do you understand? And that becomes how we create alliances where we are complementing one another. So I have team members, I have project members who see what I miss and who can point out and be like, DDK, can we create a system around this? What are we supposed to do when we get to this point? And sometimes that can be a frustration because I just want to make it work. And they're like, nice, but let's chill a bit and let's see what smaller details you might be missing. But I'm for going ahead and leveraging your strength. I'm not saying leave yourself the way you are. I'm also for growth. But I'm saying I want you to grow in the direction of your strengths way quicker than trying to improve your weaknesses. Can I tell you something? You are never going to be perfect. Never. It's not going to happen. If anybody sells it to you, it's not true. You are never, ever going to be perfect. But you can become epic at some things. You're never going to be perfect. You're always going to have areas where you need to lean on others. There's still things my husband laughs about. I'm a clumsy person. And there are times when he has to go check back before we go to bed. If I lock the car, if the driver doesn't drive me, He'll go check. He'll make a joke about it like, give me one moment. I just want to go and confirm something. I just want to check. Right? I probably would try to work on that more, but I surround myself more like with a system that ensures that those things are double checked. But I'm still going to be epic at some things. I'm an epic coach. I'm an epic speaker. I'm an epic author, right? I have energy that causes people to shift. I'm great at those things, and I'm not going to back off being excellent at those things just because I've got weaknesses. Do you understand this? So you are never going to be perfect, but you can actually become epic. You can actually become super, super epic. And I love how Fleximum Coach is saying that's been her story this year. By the way, Fleximum is going to be speaking in the masterclass at Live Away Conference, and you definitely want to hear from her. You want to hear from Tolu Michaels. You want to hear from all the great people that are coming on board. You want to hear from my coaches, my mentors, Dr. Cindy Tree, Marshawn Evans, Bisola Lunge, gosh, John Obidi, Femi Jacobs. They are just like going to blow your socks off. You're going to hear things you've never heard. That's happened to me already, listening to them. And I definitely want that to happen to you. Okay? So stop your low superpower leverage. Stop it. What I probably would do is at the end of this, I'm going to put some tests that you can take on YouTube. I'll put it on the YouTube of this particular the description of the YouTube link for this video, and you can go ahead and take the test. I have a brilliant personal discovery and strengths discovery inventory that I want you to take so that you can start to see where you are powerful. You are really powerful, and I want you to discover it, and I want you to leverage it. I want to use it. Some of you can sell ice to an Eskimo. Go use that. Go use that. Reorganize your life around your strengths. Reorganize your life around your strengths. Stop doing that to yourself. Stop playing small. Stop thinking that it's humility. It's not humility. True humility is to align yourself to God's perspective about you. So if God says you're great at this thing, you go be great at it. Some of you can sell. Some of you are nurturers. Some of you are super charismatic. People just believe you and follow you. Use that, leverage it. Stop playing small. Because you feel like, and it's the imposter syndrome. If you knew me, maybe you not like me. I'm not perfect. That's not the conversation here, but I'm epic. Do you see? I'm epic. And I'm growing, I'm getting better. But sometimes the energy you get from the results of your strength, the outcomes of your strength, move you to demand more from yourself in the areas of your weakness. Let me know if you get that. Sometimes the energy of achievement gives you the courage to go ahead and work on your weaknesses. You don't spend your life just always working on your weaknesses, always beating yourself down. No, you don't want to spend your life doing that. You want to explore what it looks like to trade value for value. Do you want to put it in the chats and be like my friends who are already talking about it? You just put it in there and be like, I am epic. Let me see it. I am epic. Write it out for me. I definitely want to have that as we run very quickly now to the next enemy I want to talk about. Okay? So give it to me. I am epic. You just put it right in here in the comment section. I'm waiting to see it. I am epic. I am epic. I am epic because you actually are. The way that you allocate worth and estimation of value to a thing is to look at the manufacturer. So this motivational talk is just what it is. And my life's mission is to actually raise visionaries to see themselves the way they are so that they can use that power of revelation to make the world into what they want it to be. So you are epic, and I'm not toasting you, I'm not scoping you. You just have to look at who made you. That's the whole concept around designer fragrances, designer bags, designer lifestyle items. It's really just the maker, the brand, and the manufacturer, right? And if you look at who made you, you can get a clear sense of what you're capable of what your powers are. And you have to start to leverage your powers. That's your responsibility. You have to start to leverage your powers. And when you leverage your powers, you give others the permission to do the same. I want to say this to you. About the biggest reward in my life for being a visionary, multi influential woman is that I have raised a generation of multi influential women. That's it. Even those who don't buy my product, those who don't even follow my coaching, they stalk me. I know it, right? Because I've created templates that they can go and use and adjust. You'll hear some of you have stalked me. You've used my methodologies and it makes me proud, right? I have such an abundance mentality. There's nothing that I can see people do from what I've done. And I'll feel like, why are you copying me? No, no, no. I've got more from where that came from. Do you understand? You know what I'm talking about. The moment that you show up, and that's what Tolu Michaels is going to be teaching you. And you have to go actually pre-order her book. The girl is epic. Take it from me. The moment you show up, you teach others how to do the same. People have literally used my curriculum, in the Bible school to create discipleship programs, and that's fine. Some have even used word for word exactly, how I speak and how I write, and that's fine. I love it. There's more from where that came from. I am a frontliner. I'm a visionary. I'm here for legacy, and I'm happy to carry as many men and women on that journey with me. People go to my website and they use the whole structure. Okay, how does DDK do it? And that's fine. People have the courage to not just be ministry gifts, but to go ahead and be business owners and, create nonprofits, write books, just by observing my life. And that's fine. When you are epic, you give others the permission to do the same. It's just the way it is. And that is what really makes the world into a powerful, blessed place. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. So if you see something that you love and you feel like DDK has modeled this, go ahead and use it and then make it better. That's my joy. I see it. Let me let you know that I see it. If I see something you've taken from me, I know, because I know my DNA. I'll be like, not bad. I love that. Go for it. And it makes me feel good. I don't have a competition mentality. I don't have a scarcity mentality. I'm giving value in thousands of dollars that my contemporaries dare not give, because their whole business model relies on it. Giving it for free. My I shared, people think it's piracy. I don't think it's that. If 1 million people can read my books, what joy, what big joy. Because I run a sovereign wealth model. There's someone who pays my bills, so I don't calculate per head. That's not how it works here. Okay, I believe that's for someone. Shift from thinking that they're trying to steal from you. Stop it. Stop it. Shift from playing small, shift from everything is competition. No. That's not how our Father is. And the moment you step into the abundant life, true wealth starts to come to you, because you become a father of nations. You have a womb large enough to carry others and to help them birth and to help them release. Okay? So I just added that for free. You don't have to worry about, crediting my account. That's how I am, just generous like that. So have fun, enjoy. Let's run number 5. Let's look at habitual mediocrity. Habitual mediocrity. We've spoken to this a bit, but I wanted to elaborate just a bit more on it. And what I mean by habitual mediocrity, thank you so much, Pearl, for that feedback. I know this myself, and I'm excited about it, excited to be able to serve God, by just modeling whatever he works through me, because every visionary has her own or his own tribe and their own community and people who are after your DNA. And it's good for them to see something to aspire to. And the journey is on, okay? So we want to talk about habitual mediocrity. And it's serious stuff. It's serious stuff. It can hold you back. And I don't want anything to hold you back as we go on into 2021. Habitual mediocrity, in simple terms, is when you have not created a system of habits that powers your higher vision. And it would sound like I'm shading you, I'm being savage, but here is it. I don't care what you do or don't do. Here's what I'm saying. If you catch a vision of a higher you, of a higher possibility that you can release in your life, whether it's about greater spirituality, greater financial abundance, better health, fantastic body, excellent skin, powerful intentional parenting, intimate marriage, whatever it is that you catch a higher vision of. If you don't create a system of daily, weekly habits around that vision, you are practicing habitual mediocrity. Do you understand this? Write out that definition in the way you get it, and I'll put it up before we go along. Anytime that you catch a higher vision about any area of your life, something you desire, something calling you, something burning in you, whether it's your marriage, it's your business, it's your assignments, ministry, or how you want to raise your children, or the kind of money you want to earn so that you can do more good work, right? Whatever it is, if you catch that vision and you do not unpack that desire and that vision into a system of habits, you are practicing habitual mediocrity. Okay, so I'm waiting for you to give it to me. Put it over here in definition format, and we will continue. Okay, so you can look at yourself and say, I'm not a mediocre, like I'm passionate about excellence. Excellence is not what you do once in a while. Excellence is who you are. Excellence is what flows out of you consistently, right? Because it is what flows out of you consistently that is the accurate predictor of who you would become, and the opportunities you can access, how high you can grow, how far you can go, and the kind of legacy you can hand on to your children and those coming after you. It's what it is. Habitual mediocrity, I like how Mom University says it. When I catch a burning vision and I do nothing about making this into a system of habits, then I'm practicing habitual mediocrity. We all do it, right? Tolu Michael puts it in a very interesting way. If you don't break your vision into a series of habits, you're practicing habitual mediocrity. Bam, bam, bam. Tolu Michael's 2020. I love it. Exactly. That's what it is. And that is a powerful operating system that will keep shortchanging you from a significant life. Let me tell you what it would always do. Habitual mediocrity is the gap between the future you see and the one you experience. But let me tell you the trick. People who see a stunning vision of who they can become, but never really make a practice of a system of habits for that future, they will start to speak that future. It will be smelling on them. It will be smelling around them, but you will not eat it. It's like they're cooking in the kitchen downstairs, right? You're smelling it. That's a dick I call wow. You can even smell poundo yam, right? But you won't really eat it. So many times, people start to pretend that they are experiencing a life they are not really experiencing because they've caught a vision of it. They have an idea what it looks like. So there are even people who say they are coaches who sell an image of a life without really experiencing it. I don't understand it. It's folly. Why would you not just experience the real deal? Why are you going to be faking stuff? I don't like it. I don't think anybody should. It's stressful. You see, because people are going to think you're experiencing it and they will hashtag goals, but you are going to know in your heart that that's not your reality, right? Although I do find that people actually get a sense of fulfillment from other people simply imagining that they are someone they are not. I think it's very twisted. It's twisted and stressful. I like how Tolu says it. It's stressful. Some people get a sense of satisfaction from people thinking that they are someone that they are not. So they are okay with the satisfaction of an appearance of true success and significance as against the evidence and the reality of it. It's very stressful. Is either because it is not Panadol, it be like Panadol. So it's either you have it or you don't have it. And if you don't have it, then go get it. Because your desires are whispers of God that are painting potentialities within you about what is possible. Let me tell you this, and I hope I'm not speaking too quickly about these very profound things. If your heart desires a thing, if you desire it, there's a great likelihood, especially if you desire it from the core of your soul, not just because others around you are having it. If you desire from the core of your soul, there's a great likelihood that it's a possibility that exists in your future calling for your attention. You know why I know? You don't desire everything, right? If you are scrolling on Instagram, it's not everybody that fascinates you. It's not every kind of image of success makes you pause and be like, hi, what am I doing in my life, right? It's not every person that gives you that thing, but some people do. And many times they do because they are living the future that looks like yours. And something on your inside is bearing witness that this is a possibility for me. This could be me too. Do you understand? Positive Kids is asking a powerful question. And she says, how do we create the habits to place us in the future we so desire? Babes, get into Immerse Inner Circle. But even if you're not ready to do that, you have to go get the book I have spoken about so much this year because it's my companion. I always have it beside me. It's because I actually emptied my space a few days ago. That's why I have it back on the shelf. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Go and start with that book. If you've not read that book, the likelihood is high that you're practicing habitual mediocrity. Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it's one of the books in a massive ebooks library in Immerse Inner Circle, right? If you, my sister is here, my big sister is here. Talk with her. She says, you've been breaking tables everywhere for 2 hours now, DDK. You're not even nice. But this level of brutal honesty is the foundation for true significant living. Thank you, Mama. I love you. And I'm excited to have you here. So thank you, Sylvia, for putting that up. It is clear, clear as day, not clear. It's clear as day, Clear. It's Atomic Habits by James Clear. And Rebecca says she's gotten so much light reading that book. It changed my life. Let me tell you what happened to me. Such a great book. But when I held it in hard copy, as I was reading, I started to hold it to my chest. You don't understand. First of all, it validated me because for many years before reading it, I'd been making a practice of my habits in my life. When I wanted to shift to a new level, I would say, what must I do daily? I was already always doing that, right? But when I now read the book, I was like, so I was, and then I gradually started to elevate to a brand new form. That's what I've always done. When I look at my parenting and I feel like I want to invest more time with the children and I want to teach them these values, right? I will start to say, how can we break it down into a daily practice? When I look at my mind, I would actually create a calendar and say, what can we do over this period that gets us to where we want to be? So I'm a habits girl. I make a practice, even on my thinking. I check my thinking and I think about some things daily because I want to expand my possibility initiation. Do you understand? So I do that. It is so good. Accountability partner. So if you don't have a system of habits where you vision, that desired down. And I know I'm using vision and it can get you feeling like, oh gosh, this vision thing. So I'm going to bring you home. I'm going to talk to you about your desire. Your desire is the passport to your future. Your desire is often a whisper of God. If something continues to burn in your heart, you just want to make this happen. You just want to see this happen in your life. Many times than not, it is because that future possibility is way. You don't know that happens? Our desires actually way from the future. The future So many times, the unique desires that you carry they're represent it's the future calling you, and your desire is a passport for the future, right? A passport for the future. That is going to help me pivot straight on into my number 6 conversation today. So I want you to tell me if you're ready. Let me know that you're still here and we're doing this together. Just give it to me in the chats if you're ready. I've spoken about habitual mediocrity, and I could go on and on and on and on, but we have to run, okay? But let me know already. We are on number 6 now. We've covered 5. Tell me if you're ready for the next 5, and I'm going to run into it. Tell me if you're ready. And as I spoke about habitual mediocrity, I started to talk about desire, how desire is so, so powerful. And I am going to context when I am sure that you are ready for me. Let me know when you are ready for me. I have to see quite a number of comments saying I'm ready before I will move on. Okay, Dina says, born ready. The narrow gateway with Coach Tony. She says she's ready. I love it. My younger sister is here and she's here with drama. She says gang gang, and I don't even know what that means. Okay, but I'm excited to see so many of you saying that you are now ready for this. Okay, and so I'm going to be running on to number 6. I might be swifter than I have been before. Just permit me. I'm going to run on to number 6, and I'm just going to spend just a short time there. But I'm super thankful that we are doing this together. You are excited about it. You want to grow with us. We want to grow with you too. Okay? And be sure to take the link of this particular video, go and share it over this weekend. Let people sit with this tomorrow, Sunday, with jollof rice and asun. And what are the drinks that people like? Let them have a chill drink and interact with these insights, because they are going to be needful for us to activate the epic shift and to step into 2021 rethinking what we believe about how life works. So we are running on to number 7. Okay, and I'm so pleased to be doing this with you. At number 7, we have practiced indifference. Apologies, at number 6. Sorry, we are on number 6. We've covered a weak self-image, possibility blindness, learned helplessness, low superpower leverage, habitual mediocrity. Number 6, practiced indifference. Practiced indifference. And you know, I was just riding on the tracks of number 5, habitual mediocrity, and saying that a vision is not just this big picture with blueprints and roadmaps and all that. A vision really begins with a desire. And I started to then say that many times your desire are images about the future. Number 6, practiced indifference. When a person gets hit so badly by life, disappointments, heartbreaks, crisis, hurts, rejection, actually start to get into practiced indifference. We use practiced indifference as shielding our hearts from further disappointments. So you do have people who say things like, it's better not to have an expectation so that you don't get disappointed. That is such an unsafe statement. It's such an unsafe ideology. Actually, we were born to have expectations. If you don't have expectations, you cannot even design the preference in terms of the outcomes you prefer in your life. The only thing is, you do not legislate and force your expectations on people to the detriment of possible relationships, possible intimacy, possible friendship, possible love, right? But to say that don't have expectations so that you won't be disappointed, that's a weak way to live. And that's what leads people to practice indifference. So practiced indifference occurs when, because we've been disappointed, hit, rejected, brokenhearted, surprised, we've tried and we failed, the things we expected didn't come to us, we then begin to say, please, Omi, I'm just here. If anyone. By the way, indifference is worse, you see, than hatred. Hatred is not the opposite of love. Indifference is the opposite of love. It's worse. Because to be in indifference is to refuse to emote. And the ability to emote is the trigger for creativity and meaning. I'm going to say that again. Indifference is a deliberate refusal to emote, to have emotions, right? To exude emotions, to release emotions, to allow emotions. When you refuse to emote, you lose creativity, you lose energy, you lose frequency, you lose vibrations, you lose a sense of meaning, you lose a desire to live. It's dangerous. Let me tell you what as well, practiced indifference, I find, can be a hereditary condition. It can be passed down from generation to generation. Some of you witnessed your father engage in adultery, maybe even get a second wife, leave home, and she stopped feeling. She bottled it away, refused to have a conversation, right? Refused to believe people, refused to trust, became super suspicious. And she was like, I don't care. Whatever, I beg, right? You're meant to care. You were wired. You care because you've got a breathing, living soul, and your soul is us of your life. You have to care. And I say to my husband all the time, in the earlier days of our dating, that you know, I used to give feedback about everything. I'll be like, why didn't you sort of hold me closer, you know, when we were in the cinema? Why did you sort of try to remove? I will ask questions about everything. Why did I hold your hands and you dropped? Because I was teaching him how to be, how to display his emotions. So I will always sort of ask questions and give feedback. And you'd be like, Ebola. And I would say, no, I don't want to not care. It's because I care, and I always want to care, and I will always care. I'm not going to be an indifferent person because it's unsafe. So people begin to manifest practiced indifference because it was even handed over to them. Dad and mom living together, but you can see that indifference. They're just flatmates. They're just co-parenting so they can pay the bills and all of that. But mom is indifferent, dad is indifferent, and that's been modeled to you. So you also use it as a defense mechanism. Stop using indifference as a defense mechanism. Ejiro, you have to join the next webinar and you have to bring all your friends. We are going to be discussing how to navigate these enemies, right? But this one is just to show you where we are. And then, yeah, okay, people are saying, how do I get out of it? The question is coming up a lot, meaning that this one is a rich call for a number of us, right? And we're going to talk about that at the next webinar. I probably will make it into a Wednesday, but we'll communicate early. You see the posters and boom, you'll be able to dive right in. Make sure you bring everyone on board as well. Okay? So practiced indifference, it caps your creativity. Practice indifference, it keeps you in a small zone in life. Nobody accesses the significant life without emoting, without anticipating, without taking risky faith, not just in projects, but in people, right? Practice indifference is happening to a lot of us. That is why we don't have relationships that are evolving at the level of our vision. We're stuck with people. Let me tell you, sometimes you are keeping some unhealthy relationships in your life because you are just too afraid to believe bigger, to trust, to stop being suspicious. So people who know you and have just, gotten okay with you, you just stay with them because you don't know how to expect more. You don't want to open your heart to expect more. Some of you are angry at God. You're keeping malice at God. But you still turn up in church, you still sing in the choir, but you don't know how to dream. Practice indifference clips your ability to dream. You never ever learn to dream. Can I say thank you? I've been receiving a lot while seated here, and I get a sense that it's some of you here who are actually going to pay for the paid access to Live Awake conference. And I thank you. And I can also see people registering even for free. I love that. I'm proud of you. Thank you for diving on board. And I've seen a few renewals of subscription for members in the Immerse Inner Circle, renewing your subscription. You did touch my heart. You know, a lot has a different level of thank you that it says. And I'm excited about that. So thank you so much. But here is where we are. Practice indifference places a restriction on your creativity. Practice indifference makes you have very unhealthy relationships. Very unhealthy relationships. Practice indifference makes you unable to show love to those who are deserving of it, right? Practice indifference also keeps you from the ability to dream. You don't want to dream because you don't want to be disappointed. I'd rather dream and be disappointed than be disappointed for not dreaming. No, right? But it's called practiced indifference because we've mastered how to do it. We just keep everything small. It is well, oh, I don't, anyone, no. No, not anyone, no, 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 no. I want it big. I want it big. My Father is the owner of the universe. He's the Lord of the heavens and the earth. I want it big. I don't want anyone. If they, I say they do it. No, 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 no. That's not me. That's not what I want. So it clips your ability to dream. Some of you stay in dead end jobs because of practiced indifference. No matter what they do to you, they insult you, you'll be there, just like, well, whatever. It's not me they're talking about. No, 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 don't do that. You've got to want more. God put it in you to dream. He put it in you to dream. He put it in you to carry desire for more. You've got to want it big. Do you understand? Let God use you as a public address system. Let him use you to just how he behaves, how they do. Let that be you. By the way, I promise you guys, I have to put something up. People in the Immerse Inner Circle know the interview we had with Aramide Akinti. I'm going to get it and I'm going to put it up on YouTube so you can watch if you're not in the Inner Circle. My God, my God. And if you're in the Inner Circle, go back to that video. It's a whole lesson on dreaming big, on being fearless. How does a person raise what, $65,000 or so? $68,000 for a Harvard education, crowdfunded, and she had her dreams exceeded. So learning to dream big is such a thing. It's such an important gift, right? If you have a heart that always stretches in belief and in faith that nothing is impossible, then for sure. AJ says, under what pathway? No, it's under webinars and coaching calls. Just go to webinars and coaching calls and you would find my interview with Aramide. I think it happened in August. Just check for it, August or September. My God, we were crying. We were crying. It was something else. I was hot. It was something else. How does a young girl in her early 20s own a school at 19 and has written books? And man, it was too much. You need to watch it again because you need to keep your faith alive. Let me tell you what makes a difference between being injured by an event or crippled by it. The single thing that makes a difference between being critically injured or permanently crippled by an event is what you lose because of that event. If you lose your faith and your belief and your ability to dream and your desire for more because of an event, you become permanently damaged by it and you're to be rescued from it. We could be critically injured. Something could hurt you. It could go deep and you're like, I really believed, I really put my heart to this and it failed. No problem, right? But if you allow what has happened to you to also damage what is happening in you, that could permanently cripple you. And with practiced indifference, you need a journey toward what is called replacement methodology. You start to replace your programming and you start to shift into new thoughts on purpose. And we'll talk about that at our next webinar, right? So that's practiced indifference, and it is for sure something that definitely will hold you back from a life of significance. You don't know how to anticipate. You don't know how to love. You don't know how to believe bigger. You don't know how to dream, right? People are really asking, how do I overcome it? Sheil, you have to either wait for me on the next webinar to talk about what replacement methodology means, or you can sign up into the Immersed Inner Circle and go and watch my materials on demolishing subconscious conditioning. Is too much. In fact, in one of my hangouts, life coaching hangouts, I used my own life, to teach these models, and they're so powerful. Okay, but we're going to talk about it next week when we look at the second part of the webinar. Okay, so that's that for practiced indifference. Many of us are victims of it, and where your transformation begins is for you to actually say to yourself, okay, that is happening to me, and I want to get out of it. I definitely want to get out of it. And you start a journey to your healing out of it. I'm going to run along. Number seven. This one, I cannot shout it enough because I see it really, really limiting so many visionaries. I see it limiting so many people. And I think it's increasing in my generation because everybody's brilliant and everybody has something to say and everybody has followers. And I'm going to talk about this one. You want to really make sure that in 2020 it doesn't happen to you. In 2021 it doesn't happen to you. I mean, the number 7 enemy of a significant life is no or low accountability. No accountability or low accountability. This is a big enemy to a significant life. Let me tell you what. Accountability is the external mechanism that radically increases your likelihood of fulfilling your higher potential. It's a science and it's a human psychology. It always works. Accountability is to be held onto a higher standard by someone you don't want to disappoint. It's powerful. It works. It really works. There are things that you want to do, you desire to do, you know it's the right thing to do, but you never will do, except there's an external mechanism of higher standards to which you are being held by someone you respect, someone you don't want to fail, a community you don't want to disappoint. It's really powerful. Accountability is a game changer. It's a little that has capacity to deliver much to you. Do you understand this? Now, let me tell you a secret. There's something called internal accountability. But internal accountability is way more difficult to instill in yourself than external accountability. Internal accountability is a model that I've taught for a long time, aka self-respect. Some people ramp up significant self-respect that they will not disappoint themselves. I'm like that. If I make a commitment to myself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But self-respect is very connected to a pattern of healthy esteem programming. I hope you will get me if you listen closer. So let's talk about internal accountability mechanism, aka self-respect. Internal accountability mechanism is when a person has such a high perception of their own self in a positive sense that causes them to respect and keep to the decisions that they make for themselves. However, This internal accountability mechanism that causes you to respect your commitments and keep them, even if you made them to yourself, is very connected to having a childhood of validation, of esteem building, right? So that you see yourself in such positive light that you are a self-regulated, self-led, and self-motivated human being. But it's tougher because not everybody had that kind of programming. Not everybody is yet in a place where they believe enough in themselves. Tolu, thank you very much. And I'm going to be talking about that. The whole point of coaching is accountability, especially when you access a community or you join a one-on-one coaching or you are in a mastermind and then you split and you say, hold me accountable. It's a miracle. You will do things you would naturally not do. Do you understand this? So internal accountability is about self-respect, taking yourself seriously enough to make commitments and be disciplined and keep them. However, or the point here is, even though internal accountability is such a powerful thing, it's a beautiful thing, it requires a greater degree of discipline. And if you don't have it, you don't have to lose out. Simply trigger external accountability mechanism. And it's just setting yourself within the context of being held to a high standard where you have to keep your promise, where you have to fulfill your commitments. If you don't have accountability in your life, mediocrity is smiling at you, is calling your name, is going to hug you. The likelihood is too high. If you're going to step into a significant life, do things you've never imagined you could do. Press out dimensions of your potential. Put pressure on your giftings till it starts to serve others and create value for you. Impact your generation. Step into great dimensions of influence and abundance. If those things are going to happen, you really, really, really need the power of accountability, right? Look at how Mom University says it. I love it. It's not like you don't know the things. It's about being accountable to someone to make those higher demands on you. Exactly. You know what you're supposed to do. And that is why the whole idea of saying the campus architecture, the campus context, was always so powerful to trigger spirituality. Why? It's the fellowship model. If you don't attend, somebody is going to come to your room, right? Somebody has been assigned, you are in a cell, they will come and visit you, they will look out for you. Sometimes you simply went to fellowship just because you didn't want to be harassed. Am I right? And then you get a fellowship, you have an encounter with God, you are thankful. That encounter was going to happen if you came, but it was accountability that made you come, right? So accountability pushes you into the zone that ensures miracles happen in your life, pushes you into the zone that ensures power is released in your direction. I love how Sylvia says it. Yeah. I used to think accountability was living your life to please one person. Right? Accountability is primarily setting a context within your life that ensures you are held to a higher standard. That's the whole idea of fellowship. Remember campus fellowship. That's why it was powerful. They're going to look out for you. They're going to be on your case. So sometimes you grumble and you're just like, oh gosh, right? And that's why prayer partners build such vibrant spiritual experiences, because you know, whether you're feeling like it or not, at 4 a.m. on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, you have to be up praying with this person or with this group. And if you miss it 4 times, they start to be like, hey, what's up with you? What's happening? They would even turn that into a prayer point again, and you show up. And it's the whole idea of reading partners on campus as well. That's how people triggered their genius. There were people in part 1 who had D's and E's in all their subjects. They get into part 2, they crack these reading study groups, and they move to C's, B's, and A's. So the genius was always there, but accountability triggered it. Oh yeah, let's go. Where are you? Join me. We're going to AGLT. You are sleeping, they wake you. They say, stand up. Stand up. You are sleeping. Right? They watch out for you. That's coaching as well. Coaching sets an accountability system in your life. And that's what we do also for those within coaching squads. You have support coaches in Immerse Inner Circle. You have super achievers who are with you. For those who took it seriously, some joined coaching squads, didn't take it seriously. But those who took it seriously, they then started to build those alliances. They showed up, they heard things, they committed to more in their lives. That's the power of accountability. If you are the person who says, what do you you're not going to go too far, except if your dream is really low. It's just really small and average. But if you want to put pressure on your potential and manifest higher dimensions of who you are, then you are going to need accountability. The genius was always say, yes, Sylvia, I love it, right? Exactly. Look at how Mom University says, the share says, Coach Nene will come for me. So I better show up. That's how it works. You're going to be like, she'll be on my case. So let me just show up. So if you don't have accountability system across different areas of your life, the likelihood is that you are not going to access a significant life. I'm going to say the last thing to you as far as this is concerned. It is brilliant. Yes, I love what Nene is adding to it. Accountability exposes you to shortcuts, gives you hacks and tips to reach your goal easier. It is just so good. And your accountability partners, like Nene is saying, will share with you things that are working for them, and there will be shortcuts for you. What you know before. That's sometimes that's all we get from being in communities. You see what is making a person's life move, and you're like, oh my God, okay, I'm gonna do that. Ejiro says, I remember I had to adjust my things, NBTs, that's inside gist. If you are in the Mercy Inner Circle, you understand it. When I saw how big others were taking their shots, exactly, you shift. So good. So accountability is a big deal. Last thing I wanted to mention about the power of accountability, and I hope I don't lose that train of thought that I was having about it, about the power of accountability. Yes, the other thing I wanted to say about being in communities with other people is sometimes in just observing people achieve their own goals gives you confidence that your dream is possible. And you might have to create that atmosphere for yourself. If you find out that you're currently surrounded, maybe family, friends, workplace environment, you're surrounded by people who are stalling on their dreams and who are falling short, who are frustrated at life, angry at things, before you start reading any book, change your environment. And I'm not saying leave your home. I'm saying just start to get into some new context where your desired future is their normal, is their reality, their current normal. Every time you step into a community where your wow is their normal, their no biggie, your life is going to change. It works. Oh gosh, I can scream at it. Works all the time, right? Mom University said, sometimes I'm afraid of sharing my big vision because I know DK is coming for me if I share it, and it must be done. So be confessing. Now we're on a one-on-one, you will do it. You will share it, and you're going to do it. It is so good. It's so powerful. Tell me if you're ready for number 8. That one, boom. This one is easy. This is one of the enemies you can just slay one moment, cut the head off, and move on. But I put it there because some people are really on that table. Okay, so let me know if you're ready for number 8. Just give it to me. Say, DDK, go for it, and I'm gonna go for it. Who's ready for number 8? Enemy of a significant life. Okay, Wemimo is ready. Temitope is ready. Who else is ready? So I can go for it. Number 8, enemy of a significant life is a culture of excuses. Some people can make excuses for Africa. They can make it for the globe. Some people really love to make excuses. They are just going to always tell you why it cannot work. A culture of excuses is happening in your life. If you have more reasons for why your vision, your dream is impossible, or why you are still where you are, even though it's not where you want to be, that you have reasons for a, the future you desire and how it is possible. You are in a culture of excuses if your no's and your yeses. If it's always no, it can't be done. This is why it can't be done. You know, you might be a victim of a culture of excuses. Let me tell you what. Some of your excuses are valid, and that's where there's a problem. When your excuses are valid, you will continue to experience possibility blindness. And what I mean by this is sometimes the road that leads to the future you desire has not yet been created. You have to carve that path. Sometimes the road that leads to the future you desire has not been created. So it's legit for you to look around and say, this thing cannot be done. But you are still making an excuse just because that road doesn't exist. You create it. You carve it. I'm telling you, you make it work. You make it happen. And I'm going to tell you three things that often leads us into a culture of excuses, right? The first is what I have shared with you. We are number 8 now, enemies of a significant life. Number 8, a culture of excuses. Valid excuses are very tricky. And I said, number one big reason you can get into a culture of excuses is when the vision you want to achieve, the results you want to get, doesn't have a clear pathway to it. Let me tell you, if you have situations in your life where oftentimes you look around you and what you want to do is crazy, you should thank God. That means that you have an enlarged capacity for vision. So God often invites people into extraordinary things by giving them a crazy vision. But many excuse themselves out of that opportunity by looking all around them and saying, this cannot be done. They won't know it was God calling them to come and taste the higher life. Do you understand this? They will not know. Sometimes the road that leads to the goal you desire, the result you desire, hasn't been created. And this is one big reason I find keeping people in a culture of excuses. Some of you listening to me today, you've had brilliant ideas. You've seen people execute things that you saw first 5 years ago. Maybe as you're even listening to me, all these things I'm saying, you've always known them. But is that who you want to be? That is it's called the principle of the ineffective sage. The principle of the ineffective sage. An ineffective sage is a person who knows everything, but their lives don't bear proof of what they know. You see, because you've got to work it, and the work is hard sometimes. So that's the first thing that can push you into a culture of excuses. You look around, you've been given a big vision, and you just downsize the thing. You're like, it can't be done. It can't. Which kind of crazy idea is this one again? When you get crazy ideas, that's an invitation into an epic life. You should thank God for it. People don't wake up with crazy ideas every time. So if that's your own kind of problem, it's a good problem. And when you have crazy ideas, you want to stay and ask this question: what if the road does not exist? How can I curve it? How can I create it? Right? And when you are in experiences where you are curving and creating roads that don't exist, you'd often find that you start to have unusual conversations with unusual people. You would often find that you will start to open their eyes to possibilities that they also didn't know. So when you find yourself having institutional negotiations, welcome to the higher life, where you're the one saying, hey, can we have this kind of partnership? I'm excited to bring, young children in the slums to learn coding, but I know no one is doing it right now. How about you create a new curriculum that we can get funding for, and then we can give it to this, whatever. Do you understand? That is how people step into epic things. That's the whole idea of Uber and Airbnb. They saw a big idea, but there was no existing pathway to make it work. And let me tell you the secret. I've already given that secret. Every time, or almost every time, that you don't see an existing path to your goals, know that technology is likely to give you the answer you're looking for. Technology is an interpreter of dreams at a higher level. You have to start thinking like a technology expert, right? It's powerful. So that's a first way that people actually get into a culture of excuses when the results you want doesn't have a clear pathway to it, right? But don't forget that your crazy ideas are often invitations to an epic life. The second one is sadder. People get into a culture of excuses because they are afraid of failure or afraid of success. You know, there's such a thing as being afraid of success. Single people who don't go ahead and start their beauty line, who don't go ahead and produce their skincare range, who don't go ahead and partner with an international beauty brand, who don't go ahead and write that book, and host that conference just because they are 32 and single and they don't want a man to feel like they're too much. So they will shrink and they will make excuses. And sometimes that's the fear of success. In some people's case, they're afraid of failure. What if it doesn't work? What if I put all that money? What are people going to say? If I go out and I say, God told me, and it doesn't happen, I'm going to look like a fool. So that's a big reason, again, people don't go ahead and create their dreams. The fear of failure, the fear of success creates a culture of excuses. The third one has been spoken about before. So this third one is an enemy that creates another enemy. And that's how many of them are. Many of the things I'm sharing with you, they connect with themselves and they fuel themselves. So some of you may be listening like, this is me. They're just talking to me. A third big reason people live in a culture of excuses is learned helplessness. That laziness to just rise and take responsibility. They're going to make excuses because they just are expecting an outcome that is created simply by results happening for them. Learned helplessness. Some people are just lazy, like they have a first class in laziness. They are not diligent, they are slothful. They are slothful. And when I see a slothful person, I just feel like you can't be helped. It's hard. A person that is slothful is no, don't be slothful. Some people are slothful. I have had staff members who are slothful. When I just see it, it repels me. I find it to be repulsive. Don't be slothful. Banish the spirit of slothfulness. Don't be a lazy person. Don't be slow. Don't just sit on your ass and just like, oh, they've come again. Don't do that. You're going to miss out. Do the work. Do the work. How will I be up overnight working on a project and a project assistant slept, had lala from here into their brain? You wake up late, then I'm asking you for what you should have done. You're telling me that those things they upset me. I don't understand it. How can the CEO be up all night and you slept, you put sputum into your brain, then you wake up and you are giving excuses? I checked him, I didn't know that. No, don't do that. And it's worrisome because I am getting a sense of it that the younger generation, the millennials, don't have a very compelling work ethic. If you are 23 and younger, you have to pay closer attention. And if you're like 27, 28, 30, and you're slothful, I don't know what I can say again. It's baffling. I'm baffled. I'm baffled. That is not baffled against baffled. Don't be slothful. I don't understand it. Don't be slothful. My 3-year-old now, she's gonna start washing hands because I see that she just wears and removes. I'm like, you start washing. That your tiny hand, you put it in water, you bring it out. You do like this, then we'll finish it for you, but you will start. Hey, Jiro, they will quote science that they have to sleep for 8 hours. No problem. You go for it. Right? Do not be a slothful person. By personality type, some people are more action driven than others. If you know that by your personality type, you are more a laid back person, let me announce something to you. I want to announce something to you. I discovered it and it changed my life. Your personality is just an installment into all that you would need for a great life. It's not everything you need. Now, listen to me carefully. There are things you need that you don't have. You go in search of it. So your personality is just an installment. There are still things you need to fulfill your purpose in life that didn't come with your personality. You don't understand? I'm not a naturally outgoing person. I don't want to make friends. But I've had to learn it. I've had to work on it and learn it because you need to rewire yourself for the future you see God taking you into. And I think wives get the memo quickly. Good wives who want to be great wives in their marriages, you find that there are some things you don't like doing, but you discover your husband wants it, and you start to say, how can I rewire my personality? Right? So if you're an introvert, I don't want to hear it. Introverts are not slothful. So I have to be, no, they're not. It's a different thing. But if you're not someone who by nature enjoys doing something, it doesn't mean you can't learn it. It doesn't mean you can't master it. And that's really important, right? So those are three things that I am going to say you have to pay attention to as far as a culture of excuses is concerned. And can I put a token out for you guys? Since I talked about employees, young employees working with visionaries, can I just give you this for free? Whenever you are facing a roadblock to achieving a vision, speaking to your CEO about it, or speaking to your leader or your higher reporting line about it before you are asked can make it a reason, and they can help you navigate it. Speaking to them about the challenges you are facing, why you've not gotten the result after you are asked, is an excuse that is not acceptable. And whenever you want to speak about a challenge you are facing, always come challenge in one hand, possible solution in the next. So yeah, as you are saying, dear ma, we've been trying to work on this, but we're facing difficulties. I suggest we explore this. You'll be bringing the answers by yourself. Don't ever forget, speaking about it before you are asked, that could be a reason. The moment it is after you are asked, it becomes an excuse. The same conversation. Never forget that. And I love what Tolu is saying here. It's important to tweak your personality to align with where God is taking you. Okay? Ejiro is repeating this for those who are at the back. Whenever you're facing a roadblock on a project, speaking to your superior before you are asked will help you find solution. Don't wait till you are asked. So good. So let's run to number 9. Guys, you have blown my mind. We have been together for almost 3 hours, and we are going to close out on a very powerful note. I'm super proud of you, and I always enjoy sharing with you. You should already know by now that speaking is a superpower for me. I get asked all the time, Didi, how do you go on and on and on and on? I love to speak. I can be here for 6 hours. If you're not going anywhere, I can be here. I enjoy it. I love passing wisdom. I love sharing knowledge. I love seeing people rise. I love seeing people grow. And the biggest thank you can give me is to take this link when we are done, put it on your status on WhatsApp, talk about it on social media, share it with all your family members, put it on the Facebook groups you are, the WhatsApp groups you are. Tell people you got to go hear this because it's real and it can hold you back, especially as we get into year 2021, which is actually a womb opener. It's a beginner of the exponential decade in pathways. Okay, so we're running on to number 9, and I'm going to tell you this one happens a lot to us. Sometimes it's connected to personality, sometimes it's connected to conditioning, sometimes it's connected to previous experiences, but it can hold you back, and you really want to pay attention to it. It is called relational evasion. Relational evasion. And I know I love us big grammar, right? But I'm going to break it down for you. It's simply the resistance or the refusal to engage relationships at a multi-dimensional level, whether because of your personality type, your past experiences, your subconscious programming, or your emotional constitution, your emotional wiring. Okay, so relational evasion is a resistance or refusal to engage relationships at a multi-dimensional level, whether because of your personality or your past experiences, your subconscious programming, what you've read, what you've been told, what you've experienced, or your emotional wiring, how you feel about people, how you feel toward people, or it could be, the files that you've stored up about people from a certain tribe, or people of a certain age, or people of a certain social status, or people of a certain financial level, right? We all have them, but some of us are not navigating them well, and so they can hold you back. Any vision, ojulowo vision, any vision that is going to really thrive and change the world can never be accomplished by only you. So relational evasion, a refusal to engage relations at a multidimensional level because of your personality, your programming, your past experiences, or your emotional wiring. Relational evasion, some people actually, oh gosh, you guys are amazing. The alerts are still coming in. I thank you for registering, for joining the paid version, for renewing your subscription, for joining Immerse. I am super proud of you. Okay, so relational evasion is the refusal to engage, the refusal or the resistance to engage relationships at a multidimensional level because of your past experiences. Past experiences create biases. What you've been told, programming create biases, right? What happened to your mom? So she was disappointed. Like that happened. Disappointed by her friends, sister, people that she loved. The children were growing together, all of that, and decided to, speak about her, saying that she was the wealthiest and this and that, and started getting very envious of her. And I saw that break her. So I said to myself, I'm not doing all these friendship things. I'm just going to be like, I go day my day. I go day like day. But no, that's not how we step into a significant life. A significant life is about serving others, right? And having others serve with you to accomplish your great vision. In Immerse, what would I have done without Dr. Louis Sonny? What would I have done without Bukumi, without Sylvia, without Jumoke? What would I have done without Busayo Fache? What would I have done without Jane Uluwadari? What would I have done without my support coaches, the supervisors? What would I have done with our inner circle members? What would I have done? There's no Immerse inner circle without these guys. What would I have done without Funke Giwa, without Sheon Olumide? What would I have done? They are powerhouses. What would I have done without Phil? You see, the Liverway Conference, my masterclass speakers, my panel session speakers are family members, friends, inner circle partners who have proof in their lives. How would I have done it without them? So relational evasion keeps your walls up and constantly makes you unable to engage at a multi-dimensional level. Pay attention to the multi-dimensional part of what I'm sharing. Okay, Mom Universe is asking about that, and you have to be at the next webinar. I will be sharing in the second phase, how do we navigate each of these enemies? Okay, so we're going to do that a bit, but you can start with a book that people talk about a lot, but they don't really know how powerful it is. Dale Carnegie's book on how to win friends and influence people is a timeless classic, and it's super helpful. It can be a real blessing for you. You can also go back to Unbundling 20, which is a premium course price for those who want to rule and reign in this decade. You can go back then when you get to Module 5 on manifestation map. When you get to people, I believe that some of the insights there would also be helpful, right? So we are on relational evasion, and I'm talking about not just engaging people on your level, It's about engaging people and building relationships at a multi-dimensional level. What I want to show you now. How do I say this? You need a multiplicity of relationship types to fulfill your vision. Many times you are interacting with just one pillar friendships in your life, whereas there are about 10. And except you recognize the different relationships you need and how to navigate each, you are never going to maximize your vision. You're never going to maximize your manifestation. People think that they need only friends, those who encourage you. You don't just need those who encourage you. You need those who give you hard feedback. And some of the alliances you need, you don't have to be friends with them. We think we have to be friends with all people who are key for our destiny. We don't have to be friends with all of them. You need some strategists, you need promoters, door openers, people of influence, crusaders, and they don't even have to be chummy, yummy friends. But you want to make everything emotional. You want to, chummy everybody. And and I'm going to talk about over emotionalism very shortly. You want everything to be on one level of relationships. You've got to explore multiple levels of relationships. The other thing I want to say to you about multi-dimensional levels of relationships is that not every relationship would enter your life emotionally. Not every relationship is going to come because you like yourselves. They're like, oh, no. Some relationships you will pay to have a conversation, to take that person to lunch. You will pay to talk to them for 1 hour. And then you start to grow that relationship on purpose. And you will exchange financial reward for it. Sometimes you travel to another country and book a session for months ahead, just so that you can have a person to mentor. Yes, okay, I love that as well. You should also check out the relationship code. It's about 10 relationships that a visionary needs, and it's on the Immerse Inner Circle. Thank you so much for that. Okay, we the final one tonight, and I already introduced you to it. It's called over emotionalism. This one happens to women a lot. Over emotionalism is to interpret life's experiences and events from the lens of how it made you feel. When you find yourself interpreting the events in life and in your life, the experiences you're having, right? And it's all about how it makes you feel, and you respond just at that level, you are going to miss many dimensions of possibilities, right? You are going to miss many dimensions of possibilities. Over emotionalism is to always view experiences and life events, interpreting them from the lens of how it made you feel. There are things that don't make me feel so good, but it's not about me. It's not about me. And so I give you an example. In trying to build a connection with a certain international coach, because I definitely could see that there was a lot she had for me, a lot she could teach me, and she was walking in the path that I wanted to walk in. I paid a lot of money at the start of the year to join her coaching program. And then I started to build, that sort of type of relationships. But there were blockers, just making it impossible for me to access her. And, thank you for the email. She will not be able to, and I was just like, and I don't be that kind of person myself. Why I did try, but I refuse to be in a small bubble, because over emotionalism creates small bubbles. You be feeling yourself in your small zone, because there are ginger, they're like, we are your lecky flood us, we are your parfait drink us, we are your, and you are going to be locked in a small bubble. Over emotionalism is going to make you feel like you're the best in your space, just because you are in a Zoom call with 233 people and everybody's like, I've never heard a thing like this before. Over emotionalism is going to make you feel like, boom, I'm big stuff. But de-emotionalizing, you remember that 133 people are just a drop in a massive ocean. And it doesn't mean you are all that. Do you understand this? So I was being blocked from her. I paid what I knew to be a lot of money, millions of naira, to be on a coaching program, and blocking, right? But I insisted. I was like, those are systems that she set in place. I've got systems that people may look at as well and feel like I'm blocking them, but I'm just protecting my focus, because visionaries have a responsibility to protect their focus. So I said, no problem. I'm going to stay there. I'm not going to over emotionalize it and say this makes me feel not respected or makes me feel bad. Look, if things make you feel humiliated so quickly, you're suffering from a very weak self-esteem. Your self-esteem is a table on only two stands, and it's just shaking, 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 shaking. Do you understand this? And it's super important for you never to forget that if you fix the first thing, a strong self-image, a strong self-knowledge, a number of these other things, you would also be able to triumph them. So I was like, I'm not going to let her block me off. Oh my God, what's going on? Safety chick, did you just say we are your fashola? Fashola us, we are your lucky evidence. Like, who are you? Where did that one even come from? Fashola us, we're your lucky evidence. Amazing. So I said, I'm going to stay here. I want what I want. And when I know what I want, I can't unwant it. That's how I am, right? When I want something, I'm not going to unwant it, except I get a higher revelation. So I was being blocked off, but I insisted. I stayed there. And then I paid more money to bring her on something. And boom, that opened up everything because it got her attention. Who is this Nigerian coach paying me at this level to engage me? Do you see? And then boom, conversation started flying. She's in my WhatsApp. I'm in hers. We're conversing. And I'm like, yeah. I'm not over emotionalizing anything. So stop looking at things from the lens. Fadekemi, you have my whole heart. She said, well, you're 2020 unbundle us. Hi! Hey! This is our own inside gist in Immerse Inner Circle because we've got Unbundling 2020 and it's my biggest premium course. Share it very quickly. Put out a link. Let me share it with my people. Unbundling 2020 is big deal. It's the game changer. I hear things in Unbundling 2020 myself that scare me. They shiver me. It's big deal, right? I love it so much. And I'm going to share the link the moment that I have it. Anyway, that's over emotionalism. It's you looking at everything from the lens of how it makes you feel. There are things that will make you feel great, but they are part of your growth curve. There are things that make you feel great, but you're still playing small. You can't over emotionalize. Women do it in their marriages and they lose their husbands, right? I wear the cap of a man when my husband is talking to me about some things, right? Because I want him to be able to have very high level intellectual, unemotional conversations with me. I do that on purpose. Yes, Rachel, I love this. I want what I want. And when I want what I want, I'm not going to want it. Yeah, that's how I am. I don't want it. I'm going to be like, how can we make this happen? How can we make this happen? Right? Yeah, exactly. So I love how Safety Chick is saying it. At a level, money opens the door. Don't over emotionalize it. Don't do that. You're in a you are in a community and somebody's always sharing. I love this example. Someone's always sharing their epic testimonials. This happened. I closed this deal, this investment. Don't over emotionalize and be like, pepper them. They're always doing, and you start to draw back. No, you buzz them, you DM them. Wow, super proud of you. How are you doing these things? Are there opportunities you can, how can we partner? That's how men behave. And that's how they get results at a level. So my husband is saying some things to me, even if it's doing me someone like, what is that? I'll just stay calm. I'll be like, talk to him about it. Why do you feel that way? What can we do about it? Because I want to be his go-to person. So I don't blow hot and say I don't like it or be frowning, expanding your nose. There's no need. So over emotionalizing definitely holds people back from accessing those possibilities. Sylvia, Jane, I'm looking out for the Unbundling 2020 link, and it'll be great if you share with us, okay? So we've covered these 10 enemies, and I try to be brief with them because, man, I could go on and on and on and on and on and on about a number of these things and go deep with you. But I hope that this sort of opens you up and it can be a great beginning. Yeah, you know, people expand their nose when they're angry, their nose be spreading, and there's no need. That's you being over emotional, and you don't need it. So you need to put your emotions where it belongs as a woman. I still find myself over emotionalizing in some instances, but I often try to catch myself. I often try to catch myself. You are over emotionalizing. For example, if you try to invite DDK for a program and she said no, and then you cut it out, you unfollowed her. Yeah, it's really your business, it's not hers. And I hear people do that a lot to speakers. If they say no to them, I've said no to some people 6 times because you are not in charge of my focus. I'm in charge of it. If I'm not supposed to be there, I'm not going to be there. It's what it is. Simple, plain. So people would say things like they invited someone to come, they didn't come. It's your business, it's not theirs. And it means that you don't have enough self-knowledge, first of all, to recognize that a no does not take away from your value or your relevance. It's not just time yet. And number 2, to recognize that if you want someone and you see they're relevant to your future, you go after what you want. You put your money there. You stay there. Do you see? So stop over emotionalizing. And those of you that have WhatsApp groups when you and your friends are gossiping, the kind of energy that you are creating in your life is going to keep you at a very low zone. So you get out of it, for sure. You get out of it. You don't need it. You don't have a business with it. So for those of you interested, you just go check out Unbundling 2020 Coaching Bootcamp, and boom, you are going to step into 2021 at a level of wisdom. It will be smelling on your skin. Can you see I'm glowing? It's wisdom. It's wisdom. You start to glow. You start to see results that blow your mind. Okay? So we talked about weak self-knowledge, possibility blindness, learned helplessness, low superpower leverage, habitual mediocrity, practiced indifference, no or low accountability, culture of excuses, relational evasion, and number 10, over emotionalism. Before we go today, what I want you to do for me is definitely to tell me your top 3 enemies. To be like, DDK, you're right. You know, this is where and I would also get a sense of the enemies to sort of speak to a lot when we come back to the next webinar. So give it to me before we go today. Which of these enemies look like they are really, really working in your case? Which ones do you feel like are really reflecting in your operating system, holding you back from the next level of significance that is possible in your life? Give it to me before we go today. I want to hear from you. So I'm waiting to read in the comment section your top 3 enemies, whether you are experiencing it at a big level or you're experiencing it at a small level, but you can see that this thing, I got to deal with it, okay? Give it to me, the 3 in a sentence, separated by commas, if you want to do that. Yes, you're going to find this video on YouTube. So, Jadisola, don't worry. Someone has asked if they're going to be able to join afterward. You'll be able to watch it after now. Absolutely, that's fine. Okay, someone says top 3K. They seem to be all reflecting. No problem. We're going to work on that together. Okay. Omobolaji says habitual mediocrity, no accountability, and a culture of excuses. Okay, Toby Loba says it's like everything was specifically for me, but I'll say relational evasion, a culture of excuses, and no or low accountability. P says for me, habitual mediocrity. Olajun, habitual mediocrity. Damilola, habitual mediocrity, no accountability, culture of excuses. Fumike Aribi says weak self-image, over emotionalism, and learned helplessness. Oladapo says no. Okoyemi says no or low accountability, culture of excuses, habitual mediocrity. Okay. Kemi says practiced indifference, habitual mediocrity. Okay, okay. Ayobola Enola says low superpower leverage, a culture of excuses, and I think I saw low or no accountability. Jane says practiced indifference times 10, a culture of excuses and low superpower leverage. Ejiro says practiced indifference, over where's Adrian again? Over emotionalism, habitual mediocrity. Yes, 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 I love it. Damilola says over emotionalism, habitual mediocrity, and low or no accountability. Tombra, so good to see you, says possibility blindness, no accountability, habitual mediocrity. Okay. Oludolapo says practiced indifference, a culture of excuses, habitual mediocrity. Okay. Titila says low power, superpower liberty times 3. Taiwo says practiced indifference and relational evasion. Okay, I love it. Thank you guys for rushing me. Nene says relational evasion is definitely something that she is going to go work on. Okay, Chidima says low accountability, culture of excuses, habitual mediocrity. Mo says practiced in indifference, relational evasion, no accountability. Oluwatobi says low self-image, habitual mediocrity, and relational evasion. Okay, we are going to go now. It's been 3 hours of an extraordinary experience. And I thank you so, so much for doing this with me. I'm so glad to serve you this way. Just watch out for Immerse Inner Circle on Instagram, Immerse Coaching Company on Facebook, and we are going to put up details about the second webinar. And when you see, make sure you come tell people that we had such an extraordinary time together today. Don't forget that you can actually join the Live Awake conference. We are waiting excitedly to welcome you. It's going to be a revolutionary time. Go to Immerse Inner Circle /LSC and we will be here to serve you. It will be a joy to do it together. There's a free access on the first day, and you get to listen to extraordinary speakers. We are really waiting to welcome you to the Live Away conference next week, Friday and Saturday. So you get on the website and definitely register. We want to do this with you. We are a 40,000 member strong community in 99 countries. It is at the heart of our work with Sabiam. People experience changes in their mindsets, transformations in the way they behave, in the way they think, in the way they access opportunities, and the way they upgrade to new possibilities in their lives. So ensure that you get on the website, register at least for free, and of course, you can even go for the paid version. My Immerse Inner Circle members, renew your subscription and we got it free for you. It's going to be an exponential experience. I was listening to Dr. Cindy Truman. I was quaking, right? And every time I listen again, I write again, because there's just so much wisdom that causes a person to shift into a new level. Congratulations on what we shared tonight. It was my pleasure serving you this way, and I'll see you in the course of the week. I think it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday for the second half of this webinar, where we start to look at how you can actually navigate those realities that we've talked about tonight and create the change in your life. Thank you. Make sure you come back to this video and you are going to drink even more knowledge than you have up until now.